researchers discovered something incredible in the Oak Island money pit. Oak Island is a sequestered location off the south coast of Nova Scotia, and for generations, people have been fascinated by the island. Finally, researchers discovered something unbelievable in the Oak Island money pit. A large number of academics, scientists, and explorers are intrigued by the possibility of uncovering the mysteries buried beneath the island's surface. It may seem like an exciting adventure on a real-life treasure island, but bear in mind that many individuals have risked their entire fortunes in an attempt to make a fortune on this island. Some unfortunate individuals have even lost their lives in the process, only to have nothing to show for it in the end. The entrance of the Lagina brothers, who have joined the long list of treasure hunters attempting to solve the island's mysteries, has brought about a recent change in the status quo. The Lagina brothers are confident that they possess the skills necessary to locate the fabled treasure said to be buried on Oak Island, and ultimately, these researchers discovered something in the Oak Island money pit that you won't believe. Join us as we observe them as they investigate this 200-year-old enigma, and together, we will determine if there is, in fact, hidden wealth on the island. Throughout the course of their expedition, they stumble upon some astounding discoveries that will astound you. The Lagina brothers have devoted a substantial portion of their careers to locating buried wealth. It is understandable why anyone would be captivated by the prospect of unearthing centuries-old treasure buried by someone in the past. Unfortunately, similar to a large number of other visitors to the island, the brothers initially encountered difficulties and failed in their endeavors. Rick and Marty were fortunate in that their treasure hunting efforts did not go unnoticed. The A&E network became aware of the brothers' work and, recognizing the potential for a compelling series about treasure hunters investigating Oak Island, decided to collaborate with them on a series titled The Curse of Oak Island. It's quite eerie, wouldn't you say? Thanks to their cooperation with the television network, the brothers were able to recover the funds that they had previously spent on their travels to the island. Their research activities attained an entirely new level after receiving financial support from the network and other investors. It is essential to note, however, that despite the influx of wealth, the Lagina brothers and their new investors did not make any noteworthy discoveries during the first 2 seasons of their program. This is something that must be recognized. Despite this, they demonstrated an admirable amount of patience, which is commendable because, as the saying goes, patience is a virtue. After 3 seasons of searching, the explorers on Oak Island finally made significant discoveries that aroused their curiosity. The discovery of a ceremonial Roman sword suggested that Roman soldiers may have visited Oak Island before Christopher Columbus. This major accomplishment opened a floodgate of opportunities for the crew, and as they diligently combed the island for riches, they discovered a wide variety of artifacts and antiquities. A handcrafted replica of a map of France was one of their discoveries, which aroused their interest in the artifact. In order to conduct the analysis, they enlisted the assistance of historian and maritime expert Zena Halper, after determining that the map was created in 1646. Halper theorized that the resources it indicated may have originated in Africa. During the course of their investigation, the Lagina brothers and the rest of their crew discovered fragments of a book, which further investigation revealed to be a bookbinder. After making this discovery, the brothers began to contemplate the possibility that they had not yet discovered additional buried manuscripts on the island. A fragment of parchment made from animal skin was yet another fascinating artifact discovered. William Chappell and Frederick Blair, explorers of Oak Island, have been hypothesized to be involved in the 15th century when the document was created. Only the wealthy could afford to dispatch mail. In addition, the explorers discovered a number of gold coins near a pit that became known as the Money Pit. This location sparked the island's obsession with treasure that has persisted for the past 2 centuries. Unfortunately, a recurring issue with flooding halted Chappell and Blair's treasure hunting expedition when the Money Pit became submerged in water, preventing them from making any further progress. After Chappell and Blair led the way, many others attempted to find treasure on Oak Island, but unfortunately, none were successful. Chappell and Blair were only the beginning of a long line of people who followed in their footsteps. The issue of where the loot was hidden evaded even President Roosevelt despite his best efforts. Despite numerous abortive attempts, the search for treasure on the island continued indefinitely. This was due to the efforts of individuals like Irwin Hamilton, who unearthed artifacts that were not typical of the area. It was evident that Rick and Marty had a challenging mission ahead of them. They were fortunate to have a competent and capable team supporting them. Craig Tester, who had been Marty's college flatmate, joined their ranks, as did Dan Blankenship and his son David, all of whom were experts in their respective disciplines. Dan Blankenship, for instance, was a renowned hunter who left his contracting business to investigate the enigmatic island. Since the Lagina siblings had been treasure hunting since they were young children, it was not surprising that they were both exceptionally skilled at the activity. As soon as Rick, then 10 years old, stumbled upon a boulder and became intrigued by the concept of unearthing buried treasure, their passion for treasure seeking was ignited. Even though their first attempt to search the boulder for treasure failed, it set them on a path that would lead them to spend the remainder of their lives engaging in similar adventures. The Onslaught personnel returned to the money pit one morning to discover that it had been completely submerged by 18 meters of water. Due to this strange and unanticipated event, the extracted shaft was now useless and could not be used for further excavation. The Onslaught troops, undeterred by their defeats, resolved to dig a shaft parallel to the money pit in order to access the treasure from the side. The fact that the second shaft also filled rendered their efforts futile and compelled them to abandon their goal. Another determined search for Captain Kidd's concealed treasure did not commence for nearly 50 years. In 1849, a team from Toro arrived and redug the 2 holes that the Onslaught crew had dug. The water filled the openings once more, rendering their efforts futile. The Toro firm observed an anomaly that the Onslaught crew did not notice. A portion of the water in the pits was mildly salty, and its level appeared to vary with the tide. This suggested that water was finding its way into the money pit, which was located approximately 40 meters inland. Following a search of the island's shores, the crew discovered the beginning of a small canal that led to the money pit, which was located deep below. This was the first indication of the odd, unexplainable events that would plague the search for Captain Kidd's wealth. The treasure hunters were determined to obtain Captain Kidd's loot, but the discovery of the mine flood system was a significant setback. Despite the apparent value of whatever was at the bottom of the hole, accessing it was exceedingly difficult due to the elaborate security measures in place. The Toro crew dug numerous shafts to approach the pit from a variety of directions, but their efforts were frequently thwarted by water and sudden cave-ins. They were ultimately compelled to abandon their search for the treasure, forever altering the allure of Oak Island. Since then, swarms of people have flocked to Oak Island in the hopes of excavating the money pit's buried riches. Over the past 170 years, countless explorers have traveled to Oak Island in quest of the rumored legendary treasure buried at the bottom of the money pit. Some have attempted to avoid the complex booby traps in the flood tunnels, while others have dug ditches on other parts of the island, frequently at the cost of human life and spawning fanciful rumors of a curse. In spite of the development of ever more advanced instruments, such as steam pumps in the 1860s and divers in 1909, treasure hunters have attempted and failed throughout history. Even though they sent apparatus for digging and divers to the island in 1909, the old gold salvage gang was unable to break Oak Island's curse. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the future President of the United States, is rumored to have been a member of the original gold salvage group and to have been fascinated by its mystery throughout his entire existence. Errol Flynn and John Wayne, 2 of Hollywood's greatest stars of the 1930s, donated money to multiple expeditions. According to legend, King George VI of England instructed 2 treasure hunters to submit their finds. Despite numerous searches, the treasures of Oak Island have evaded discovery. Rick and Marty Lagina, brothers who were filming their treasure search on Oak Island for the History Channel, were in charge. The fact that this is the 9th season of the program could be indicative of how successful their quest has been thus far. The siblings have unearthed a variety of intriguing artifacts, such as money, weapons, and jewelry, but they have yet to find Captain Kidd's legendary loot. The longer one searches without discovering the treasure, the more reasonable it becomes to question its very existence. The story should be regarded as a myth despite the fact that many people have searched for his riches. The discovery of evidence that Daniel McGinnis had discovered the money pit in the 1790s did not occur until 1857. In addition, the account differs based on the cited source. There is little evidence to suggest that Captain Kidd concealed valuables on Oak Island, and the popular conception of pirates is wholly fictitious. Walking the plank and other stereotypes, such as parrots and prosthetic legs, are not supported by substantial evidence. The portrayal of Robert Newton as Long John Silver in the 1950 film adaptation of Treasure Island also contributed to the mythologizing of the infamous pirate incident. Contrary to conventional belief, there is only one well-documented case of a pirate actually burying treasure, and it wasn't Captain Kidd. Captain William Kidd buried his wealth on Gardiner Island, 500 miles away, which was discovered less than a year later and used as evidence in his trial and execution. However, it is also conceivable that Kidd hid treasure on Oak Island. Why would Kidd, or any pirate, for that matter, go through the trouble of excavating a 30-meter deep, booby-trapped pit to conceal treasure if the objective was merely to keep anything valuable secure? A few meters would have sufficed, correct? Even if Kidd did bury wealth on Oak Island, it is likely lost forever due to the inability of modern technology, such as ground-penetrating radar, to discover it. In 1995, the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution conducted a scientific investigation of Oak Island to locate any concealed treasure. As a result of their investigation, the crew came to the disappointing conclusion that the fabled inundation of the Money Pit was not the result of a complex trap but rather the result of natural geological processes on the island. In Nova Scotia, near Oak Island, there are sinkholes that share some characteristics with the original Money Pit. Even if the cryptography stones and oak platforms discovered in the Money Pit appear to disprove this theory, it is important to note that many of these critical pieces of evidence have not vanished despite having been a part of the Oak Island legend for more than a century. A decade later, the island's history continues to unfold. The baby blob and the garden shaft were examined with the expectation that a drill would forge a secret link with the nearby gold, silver, and other metals. In parallel to this, the secrets of Oak Island remain linked via red pottery, the enigmatic Money Pit, and Sir William's silver-laden mysteries. As teams explore history, technology, and worldwide connections, the island's mysteries become clearer, offering a story rich in hidden treasures and narratives.